afternoon. It is Sunday, December 1st. We have been gone for way too long. And a lot of shit has happened. A lot of shit that I'm not happy about. A lot of shit that others are happy about. And we're going to talk about some of it today. Before we get into our discussion today, we are going to go ahead and introduce our co hosts. Currently, today, all we've got is Liz, Dale, and Stoner. So let's go ahead and start introducing them. I'm going to start with my friend, my friendly Canuckistani from the Great White North, our dirty Frenchy Frenchman, Dale. Please say hello, Dale.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our show for one final time this year. And I come to you live, as always, from the frozen north wasteland of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Welcome to the show.
Fuck Quebec. Anyways, then we are going to go ahead and say hello to our friend from the South, our one and only Stoner. Please say hello, Stoner.
My name's Donor. Hi, everyone.
That's a ridiculous way to try to impersonate an actual stoner. Stoner. Okay, and then we of course will go to our one and only lizard lady, Liz. Please say hello, Liz.
Hello. It's good to be back. I did miss everyone, and I'm glad we're doing this during the day when I'm awake.
Yeah, as for anyone who was watching or tried to watch last night, I apologize. I have kept some really weird hours and I laid down for a nap and I didn't get up until the stream was supposed to end. So I apologize to everyone for that. So of course, now we talk about our topics. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Give me a second here. I almost forgot everything that we have on the list. So the first one up is Nick Fuentes. Is he gay or is he gay?
He is gay.
I'm going to go with what I said earlier that somebody I know says that he definitely slept with a girl in early college. So maybe he experimented with being straight. But I've also heard that he likes to do penis inspections on his male friends.
Makes sense.
You
Well, I
know,
mean, he did go on that. He did film himself going on a date with that cat boy. So, I mean, open and
well,
shut case.
Catboy Kami was his name.
what
Yes.
what what really baffles my mind is the fact that he is quote unquote friends with Destiny.
Yes. Oh,
Friends.
they're friends with benefits at this point. If
Okay,
recent leaks are
but
to be believed.
what
Okay,
what
for
what
those of us who don't know, who's Destiny and what's he about?
Destiny
Destiny is a
is
cuckold.
well let me give the background on Destiny. So in the early anti SJW days, there were streamers like Shoe on Head or Armored Skeptic. There was also a streamer who went by the name of Tonkasaw. Um, I'm not going to get into the lore of Tonkasaw, though his lore is very similar to yours, Dale.
Interesting.
The simple fact of the matter is, during a stream on Tonkasaw, Destiny came on. He was basically beaten down by Tonka and Mr. Medicare all over things like Destiny being in an open or poly relationship. Destiny claimed to be in a poly relationship. It was not poly. There was a one penis or a one pussy policy in that relationship, and it was her pussy, but she could sleep with whatever dick she wanted.
Yes.
And there goes our monetization.
Not like we have any to begin with.
Good point.
And
But
eventually, she
the
left him for one of the men that she was fucking on the side.
yeah, but the
I'm
the
in
the long and
Destiny L.
the long and the short of it was this guy was the headline, like the face of male feminism. Like
Yes.
the dude was the face of male feminist. Outside of what's his name? Steve something.
I'm not sure. But
I
I
can't remember his
don't.
name.
it's rather fitting that the cuckold is the face of male feminism.
Uh
When I want to call somebody a predator in my spaces, I refer to them as a male feminist.
Fitting.
I just want you to know that. As a
Oh,
feminist,
okay.
like male feminist is my euphemism for that guy's a predator.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Prove me wrong.
They're not
Well-
doing a good
Challenge
job of proving you
impossible.
wrong.
A lot of us have said pretty much the exact same fucking thing. Is male feminists are the biggest fucking predators you're ever going to find.
Yes.
Absolutely. And also, any man that immediately responds to that by saying that you have to accept men into feminism and treat them without suspicion, also on my sus list.
In my experience, male feminists are the most likely to be the quote unquote nice guys. And we've all heard those nice guy stories where, a guy is very doting until you turn him down and then he goes off like a fucking maniac.
Yes.
Hmm.
When I was living in Philadelphia, we went to Reddit mod meetup, and one of the mods from the Philadelphia subreddit was there. He was a very gregarious young man, and I remember immediately being like, "This dude's a problem." And then about 3 months later, it came out that he was giving rides home to teenagers and asking for sexual favors in return for the ride from the Reddit meetups.
Reddit moment.
Reddit moment. Anyway, he was also a
Absolute
male
Reddit
feminist.
Yes. I don't suspect that a meetup of Reddit mods would go any other way.
Oh my god,
Well,
it was so much fun.
as we continue our discussion with Nick Fuentes, we will eventually get into that particular patch of weeds.
We're almost there, Stoner, I promise.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to derail us. Back to Nick Fuentes being definitely a little gay. Like he's definitely got some homo in him.
Oh no, he is a flaming word that I can't say on YouTube.
Okay, so I'm going to pull this up. Just give me a second here.
Just make sure you don't accidentally show Luna's page again.
No, I'm not going to do that again.
Allegedly. Ah, yes, this video.
Okay, so this is Nick Fuentes and Destiny, Such a Beautiful Story. Give me a second, I'll play the video.
Straight people do not make such eyes.
Okay. Well, they're hotter.
Guess you wonder where I've been.
That's why we love them. That's why we love this guy.
I searched to find the love within. I came back to let you know.
He looks so happy.
And I can't let go. My friends wonder what is wrong
Oh,
with
whoa,
me.
whoa.
Well, I'm in a daze from your love, you see. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you, and I can't let go. People go around the world for
Okay, what was the woe? I was pulling bread out of the oven. What's going on?
Somebody was eating some ass.
Yeah, he was.
I thought we weren't showing Luna-esque things on this stream.
And
Apparently not.
banned.
This is what I get for not watching the video through once before.
Yes.
It was
Yep.
fairly
were video-
tame.
There were images of Destiny with something in his mouth, and I won't say what that thing is, but we all know what that thing was.
That's
We're gonna
Christ. Okay, well, we're definitely kicked off of YouTube now.
Fair enough.
Okay, everyone discuss. I will be right back.
Yeah, so Nick is a flaming bundle of sticks.
He
You
is
know-
a blazing British cigarette.
Yes.
I love how nobody is surprised at all that
No.
Destiny, the liberal, was sucking the dick of,
Yes.
of a white supremacist. This is
Of course.
there's a metaphor in here actually about liberalism and white supremacy that is just it's
Oh,
just
like
too on the
liberalism.
nose.
Yeah, kind of like liberalism being subservient to white supremacy.
Yes.
Just sucking that white supremacist spatula.
Yes.
I had to
I
think of
mean,
a word.
Destiny is a degenerate through and through, and Nick is
Now,
as well. It seems.
Let's not mince words, Liz. Destiny was sucking that white supremacist cock.
Well, all right. Let's also not
Am I
mince
allowed
words.
to say that on YouTube? Because
Say it.
I only changed what I was saying to be more proper. Okay.
I don't care.
Let's not mince words, because I mean it's not technically white supremacist. He was downing that Mexican burrito. Right? You have to actually be white to be a white supremacist.
You know what? I think that you're allowed to stay. It's like you're allowed to stand outside the bonfire, but you're not allowed to come in and roast your marshmallows if you're not white. But like they're happy to have brown people stand outside the gate and be like, yeah, you guys are on the team. You're guarding the gate.
Yes. They're not sending their best, and Nick needs to go back.
AKA male feminists.
Yes.
Male feminism.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'm looking up a meme about the white supremacist with the Latina girlfriend meme.
Yes.
So this is a video that Stoner shared with us last night. Let's pull it up. This is Nick talking about how having sex with women is gay.
I'd be gay because I've never had a girlfriend. I think if anything, it makes me less gay. If anything, it makes me not gay. As opposed to less gay. Not that there's any gay, but it makes me not gay. Well,
I get it. He thinks he's a woman.
Yes.
You know, a gay people do date girls all the time. Real. And when I said on Elijah Schaefer's show, and they said, have you ever been in a romantic relationship? Have you ever had sex with a girl? And I said, no. If you name searched me on Twitter, as I always do, all these gay people are coming out and saying, I've had more girlfriends than Nick.
If you name search me on Google, as I always do, why are you name searching yourself, sir?
Such an amazing statement of conceit.
The word prima donna is used a lot these days, but I can say with a great degree of certainty that Nick is a flaming prima donna.
He's a bigger prima donna than what General Montgomery was.
Yes.
Back in my day, we used to call effeminate gay men queens before drag queens were like a huge national thing.
Slay Queen, in reference to Nick. And yes, Stoner, that's basically correct.
Okay, let's continue.
I said last week, not only is that thinking flawed, but actually not only is that thinking flawed, But actually, it's the reverse. That actually makes me really more heterosexual than anybody. If we're really being honest, never having a girlfriend, never having sex with a woman, really makes you more heterosexual. Because honestly, dating women is gay. Having sex with women is gay. And having sex with men is gay. And you know, it's all gay. And if you want to know the truth, the only really straight heterosexual position is to be an asexual incel. That's it. So that's all there is.
Hope. Hope.
I'm not a loser. The only way to win is to not play their game, guys.
Hope.
Sorry.
Such hope.
He is taking the Miyagi lessons a little bit too far.
He is coping and seething about his non-attraction to women.
But we have
Well, let me ask you this. What kind of self-respecting woman would want anything to do with that sniveling little weasel to begin with?
Yes.
someone
Did
who
you
doesn't
see-
know him.
Have you seen how he picked a fight with the wife Jack meme recently and lost hard?
Oh, gee whiz, I wonder why.
Yes. Oof.
No,
Common
if you've got a
white
source,
guy
please let me know.
Hmm?
If you have a source on this meme and him picking a fight with it, please let me know.
I think
Oh, it's all over. It's all over. It's all over Twitter.
Did you post a thing of that stoner in one, like, you posted the one of the Grapers attack, the Grapers being pedos and attacking the daughter Jack of the wife Jack meme, with things I can't say online, but I think you posted that on the
Boy.
yes.
Well, I had those pictures, but I deleted them because I didn't want that smut on my phone anymore. But let me go back and see if I can find them.
Okay.
Very well.
With that,
Did you guys?
No, go ahead.
Did you all? Oh yeah. Did you all hear about? I probably have to go back to the beginning here. Nick Fuentes put out a video saying "Your body, my choice," and then almost immediately somebody doxed him.
And then he pepper sprayed someone for knocking on his door. Which,
yeah, he punched a woman and pepper sprayed her
for knocking on his door, which seems highly illegal. Like, you can't assault. You can't claim self-defense on someone for knocking on your for ringing your doorbell. I don't believe in any.
And then he ran
Generally-
home like a little bitch to hide behind his mama.
Generally, you can't, but given the fact that he had been doxxed, I can see a case in court where it gets dismissed against him.
You should not be allowed to go up in front of court and be like, "Sorry, I hurt somebody. I'm just a coward."
But he also took the woman walked up while filming. He pepper sprayed her, pushed her down the steps, and then took her phone and ran inside with her phone. So it seems like he at least stole her phone. Like,
no, but he's a white guy, and honestly, the police are on his side. Like,
he's not a white guy; he's a Mexican.
Okay, fine, but like he thinks he's a white guy, and he's one of the white supremacist leaders, and cops do like him. Okay.
Yes.
Like the cops aren't gonna look at him and be like, "That's another Mexican." They're gonna think he's one of the good ones. Like, he's on their side.
Nick made his name through two things. The first one was Charlottesville. The second one was on Tonkasaw's channel. I don't know if anyone ever saw it, but there's a clip of him on video while he was on live with Tonkasaw where he was playing with a knife and threatening the camera with a knife.
No offense, but that's a very online take. He's probably best known for having dinner with President Trump.
Oh, that wasn't until much later.
Yeah, so that was back.
I'm just saying, like, most people heard his name for the first time when he had dinner with President Trump.
most normies who aren't politically engaged, I'd say. But by that
Right.
time, everyone politically engaged already knew who he was.
I would still say people politically engaged online because I have noticed that people like Nick and like it's like, for example, during the 2016 election, I walked out one day and Milo Yiannopoulos was on Fox News. And you don't often see internet trolls on Fox News. They don't usually make the leap, right? And it was very noteworthy to me. And I haven't seen another internet troll on there in quite a while. Like, it's been years.
Right. Well, Milo's a special case because Milo is like he radiates all the gay sass that is possible to radiate. So like he's very captivating when put on camera. Unlike
He
a lot
also
of
claims to be straight now.
allegedly, or he's straighter than Nick.
That might be true. Milo is fascinating. That is absolutely true. It is hard to ignore him. He's a fascinating creature.
Yeah. Yes. But I would say most people who are politically engaged knew of Nick after the first quote unquote Graper War against the various neocons and the Israeli wire.
Well, I will tell you this, though. If there is one thing that I've noticed from the MAGA people that I follow, they are doing everything they can to try to alienate Nick and his followers from the movement.
Yes.
And rightfully so, because as far as I'm concerned, Nick and his groypers are not welcome in America First, because America First counts every American citizen. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Indian, whatever.
Well, if you remember, weeks before the election, Nick was like, "Don't vote for Trump because he's a Zionist. He's a Zionist shill." And then Trump won, and he's immediately like, "We won."
Yeah, he's a hypocrite.
Interesting. Yeah, he's a bitch. He's not a hypocrite. He's a bitch and a grifter, and a bundle of sticks. But yes.
Okay, we're going to get through the rest of this video, and then we're going to get to the rest of Nick.
MGTOW, asexual incel, is really the straightest position that you can have. Having sex in itself is gay, I think. I think that it's really a gay act to begin with. Think about it this way. What's gayer than being like, I need cuddles, I need kisses, I need it's all very sus to me, you know. I need to spend time with a woman. That's a little sus. It's a little bit sus. So I think really, I'm like, you know, the straightest guy.
No.
Do you think he
no,
cuddles with Destiny? Do you think he does aftercare?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I kind of think he's the bottom.
Yeah, he is.
Nick is definitely the bottom.
I guess I should ask, do you think that Destiny cuddles with him afterwards, or if he's like, go make me a sandwich?
Destiny is definitely Big Spoon, and I'm certain that he cuddles, considering Destiny is also a cuck.
Yes. Unfortunately.
I just could not think of two better people to see being humiliated on the national stage. It's kind of nice.
A white nationalist groiper and a male feminist, that's fucking iconic.
Yes.
I've had a good last few weeks. I had a new Kendrick Lamar album, and then this happened, and I've been off of Twitter, so I just haven't seen that nonsense. I'm feeling pretty good.
Okay, let's go ahead and pull up the next one.
Yes,
oh yeah, so this is where the whole
this is part of his war against the wife Jack meme. And his subsequent loss.
This is daughter Jack.
Yes.
But this is the video.
And I don't care. I don't even know who you are. And I don't care. I don't care because you sound like a faggot and you're going to hell with your ugly dog of a woman wife. So.
Well,
People
I
like
mean,
you
if
are
we're
Polite
gonna
people
play
worse than
say
him,
bundle
treachery.
of
People like you are
sticks.
worse
if
than
we're gonna
traitors.
play him saying the word, I'm just gonna say the word.
No. Continue to
No.
be a better person than him. Thank you. You were
Yes.
making yourself look much better. As soon as he said it, we were all like, see, polite people know not to say that. We say bundle of sticks.
Exactly.
Until we're behind closed doors, please don't.
Fair enough.
So this one, apparently pedophile Nick Fuentes went off on someone for not showing up for a stream because he was prioritizing his family. Anyone who's still a graper after this pathetic display is worse than they already were. He can't
Correct.
get a woman, so he wants girls and hates wives. No, he can't get a
Yeah.
woman because he wants boys and hates men.
Yes.
Frankly, people like you are sort of worse than the worst part of the problem. So, busy with wife and kids doing what? Being a cuck? Busy being schlepping around bags for your wife. I was busy doing my wife's makeup. My wife was doing my makeup. Busy playing tea party with your baby girl as stay-at-home dad while your wife makes some money. Is that it? And what does that even mean? Busy with the wife and kids doing what? I think they're pretty self-sufficient, aren't they? They should be. Busy with the wife and kids going on what, play dates? What does that mean? Busy with the wife and kids. What do you mean by that? So
Busy with the wife and kids, as in bonding with your family. This
Yeah.
is
What
not
a-
something new.
What a genuinely defective human being. Like, just to
So-
the core defective. The entire point of being a goddamn mammal is you are supposed to pass on your genes and want to reproduce and have children that are successful. It's your fucking biological imperative to be like, ooh, that's so gay. Like, shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
dude.
So I'm gonna say a thing, and maybe not many people will get it. I hope some people do, but this is a bit esoteric. Nick Fuentes has been kicked out of 109 different friendships.
109 different friendships.
Yeah, so I can't explain the joke because this may get us permanently banned off YouTube, but yes.
Type it.
If you know, you know.
Type
Type it.
You're gonna have to explain
Right.
it to me later, though. This is gonna nag at me.
Yeah, he's gonna type it in our chat so that you can understand, because not even I understand. But you know, even for the past.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Funny.
So for the past century, the nuclear family has been like the most important thing to American civilization. Without the nuclear family, civilization falls. Generally speaking.
Can you even really be a white supremacist if you don't believe in like the 14 words? Because like, isn't their entire thing is they're trying to preserve a future for their white children? But like, I mean, obviously he's not a real white supremacist.
Yeah.
I know we said this before, but it's the ideology that he's been spouting, okay?
Yeah.
And like, I'm saying that he's not consistent with the bullshit that's coming out of his mouth.
The ideology that he's been spouting is MGTOW mixed with white supremacy.
Yes.
And we're not talking just general red pill MGTOW. We're talking purple pill MGTOW.
We're talking what was that guy? Yeah, we were talking Supreme Gentleman level MGTOW. For another terrible reference I'm making. I'm making a lot of terrible references.
Red. So there's several different pills. We've got blue pill, red pill, black pill, and then when it comes to MGTOW, there's purple pill. And purple pill MGTOW is pretty fucking radical. I used to be friends with people who were purple pill MGTOW, and they went off the fucking deep end.
Yes. Is Purple Pill like Elliot Rodger shit? 'Cause that sounds like Elliot
I'm so
Rodger
sorry.
shit.
What is MGTOW specifically? I'm familiar with the red pill ideologies. That's the only thing I didn't get.
MGTOW is an acronym for men going their own way, which is basically
I know.
it's the male equivalent of the 4B movement.
No,
basically.
it's men
So-
getting triggered over women. And it's not
That's
really the equivalent because all they actually do is bitch about women. I
Sure.
have a women separatist server, and we have like a book club, and we share our art and stuff, and like we don't actually spend our time talking about men.
Yeah, so when it comes to MGTOW, there are different levels. The general red pill level of MGTOW is, you know, we still need women, women still need us, and you know, there's nothing wrong with accepting the fact that both men and women have some sort of societal downside living in this country. But when you get to black pill and purple pill, things really take a turn to the left. And I don't mean
What
politically.
pill would you say the subreddit is?
Which subreddit?
The men going their own way subreddit.
Black pill.
Okay, so when the incels got created and they were starting to get fucked with by the Reddit admins, the men going their own way subreddit popped up. And I want to say that it's quarantined now, but I could be wrong. And that's what I'm basing the bitching off of women off of is the Reddit version. It's been around for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, those are the black pill MGTOW.
Okay, thank you.
Black pill MGTOW basically just says, you know, women need us, we don't need them, and just use them for their bodies. It's when you get into purple pill MGTOW that you start to sort into white supremacy, male feminism, which is fucking hilarious. As well as pedophilia.
Well, I just found out
Another
why
thing
y'all
we can
didn't know what I
infinitely
was talking
familiar with.
about.
Yes.
They got banned 3 years ago, so no wonder you guys didn't know about my oh so recent cultural reference.
Yeah. Oh, my assumption is anything that's more right wing than Maoism is just insta banned on Reddit. So
No, so Reddit has a long history of allowing right-wing stuff to fester on it until they start to go off of their subreddits and fuck with other people. Like men going their own way isn't banned because of their ideology. It's banned because they were going off and they were harassing the feminist subreddits. It's
But
like
then
Reddit doesn't what?
why not just ban the individual users then? Not ban
Because it
the
wasn't
subreddit.
the individual. Okay, so it's hard to explain, but they wanted to get rid of the entire community. There weren't moderate voices in this community. I think that you think that there was something to be saved here, but it was a straight up hate group. And so they banned it because of that.
Yeah, so I don't have any opinion on whether anything of worth is in the subreddit. My opinion is just that if you express a right of center view on Reddit, you're eventually going to get banned. And if you have a subreddit that's right of center, it's going to get banned because the admins are all communists.
That's not true at all. The Spez is a Republican and owns the website, and the admins are not as left leaning as you think. And also, conservatives are conservatives. Is a conservative what like they're just listen? There's conservative views like lowering taxes and marriages between one woman and one man. And then there's conservative views like I should be able to tell women that it's okay to rape them right now. And those aren't actually conservative views, but the people, hold on a second, the people who do it will tell you that they're just expressing conservative views, okay? I had a guy on YouTube do it to me just yesterday. I said, are you talking conservative views like saying your body, my choice to women and believing that marital rape isn't real, for example? And he like straight up told me, he said, if you get married to a man, that your body belongs to him and he's allowed to do whatever. Like that's not like he was like, that's not a controversial thing. And like, honestly, dudes, You can't go up to women and say that you think it's okay to rape them and like expect to not get banned from play. Like there's conservative views and then there's actually offensive shit. And some of the trolls on Reddit don't know the difference between them. But if you ask them why they got banned, they'll tell you it was their conservative views and not because they were sexually harassing people.
I want to
That's all.
pause. I want to pause for a second. I know Dale wants to get in here and say something, but it's very important that we understand and delineate the differences between conservatism and authoritarianism, because there's authoritarianism and anarchism, and then there's socialism, and then there's so there's
capitalism. There's economic and there's the economic axis and there's the social axis.
yes, and then
right,
there's
left.
the government axis.
All right.
So on the government side of things, the authority/liberty scale, that's where these guys are coming from. You know, the your body, my choice. They're fucking authoritarians. They have fallen into the same trap that most people have in saying left wing, right wing, which is bullshit because there are 3 different axes. And just because someone's fucking authoritarian doesn't mean that they are right wing. As we've seen with Destiny for fucking years.
Facts.
And honestly, I'm not even sure how authoritarian they actually are. I'm beginning to more and more think they just, they peaked in high school as like edgy, edgy fucking losers, and they just never left that mindset. They never grew out of their edgy high school phase, and they're just saying shit because it's what an edgy high schooler would say, and their brain never developed past that.
Listen, I'll tell you what caused this. This kid never got out of the house.
Yes.
This kid never left the house. His parents never kicked him out and said, "Go fucking play outside and don't come back until it's dark."
Right.
My mom used to say that all the time. Especially when I figured out how to tell jokes with puns in them. I used to get locked out of the house all the time. She once chased me out with a broom and told me not to tell her another pun.
Very nice.
Okay,
It's good for you.
So I also wanted to get into the 3D 2A space.
Can I say one thing really quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to acknowledge that I do understand that conservatism and authoritarianism are wide branches. I was merely trying to point out that a lot of the times when people get banned, the reason that they tell you that they got banned was not actually what they were doing.
I mean, I've seen enough posts of because you know how in Reddit you can reach out to mods and say why you're banned. I've seen enough of those where it's like the mod lists the reason as a comment, and the comment is just vaguely conservative opinion. So it's not like that doesn't happen either. Like the mods themselves are like,
well, but anybody can create a subreddit. So
right. I mean, on subreddits that are not necessarily like subreddits that shouldn't be doing this. This is just power mods power tripping because they're fucking commies and they can't stand hearing non-left-wing opinions. It's like banned.
Okay, so it's like 1 or 2 specific mods, and I'm not going to call out names here because I'm under my Reddit name and I don't want to start fights with people, but I do know what you're talking about, and that is not the same thing as the admins, though. The admins have been trying to take power away from the mods from the last year, and you as a user didn't even notice that they've been defanging moderators, but they're also screwing over the willingness of people to moderate for free. That's a different topic that I'm not going to go into. But you should see a lessening in that eventually, because they banned, like, there was a power moderator named Susie Sue, and she was a moderator of like almost all the subreddits, and she like tried to actually go to war with the admins, and so they straight up banned her from the entire site. And then another one of the moderators, Nate the Great, who is like one of the leaders of the last admin protest, they recently banned him from all of it, and he was one of the people that, like, I'm not saying he upheld the power mod system. I'm saying that he was the one of the social fabrics that like still held that together. And so that kind of chased him out of the sphere. So you're probably going to see that break up in the next year or two.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so there's plenty of right-wing subreddits. There's gun Reddits. I'm on the Reddit for SIG and the Glock 43X. I've seen people get banned for harmless shit, and I've seen people get banned for non-harmless shit, like extremely harmful shit. It runs a wide range depending on the subreddit.
I do want to clarify that there are two types of bans on Reddit. There's the admin level bans, and there are the moderator bans, and mods and admins aren't the same thing, like, at all.
Yes. I do not mean banned from the site. I simply mean banned from the subreddit. Subreddits are like HOAs.
Unfortunately. They're run by the same people, the same sort of people who run HOAs as well.
Oftentimes,
You know what?
yes.
I resent that statement.
Oof. Present
Thank
company excluded.
I was going to say, I run my subreddit with an anarchist point of view, and all of my moderators feel like they are community leaders who are the action hands of the community and not like they are overseers. And I think I create pretty good spaces.
Well, see, I say subreddits are like HOAs because the ones that get the attention are always the bad ones. There are a few good HOAs. I still won't live in an HOA. What's?
I will be right back.
Oh, okay.
You know what? That's not as bad of an analogy as I thought it was going to be because I just hate HOAs. I want a social media site, and I've wanted this for a while, that is owned by the people who build communities on it. Not like the power mod thing, though, because I do think that the community should be able to get rid of a power hungry person. There's a few mods that, like, if communities could vote to get them off the moderator list, they would be out. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think that communities should be able to do that. But I think that a social media site where you can build communities and talk to people and really pull people together, that was owned by the people who are doing the actual work, which on Reddit is the moderators, like, they get so many free work hours from the moderators. They're like basically like if you were talking about like the structure of a McDonald's, for example, they'd be like the regular workers at a McDonald's compared to management. You know, they're doing so much more actual labor. And I just think that those people should own the site so that it can't get sold out from underneath them, or the rules can't change, or they all of a sudden can't be told that they can't make their own apps for the website anymore and use it, you know.
Yes.
But that's just a dream of mine.
Okay,
I know that they have the Federation versus and stuff. They're just hard to use. I want like a forum like Reddit. Sorry.
No, that's absolutely fine. So while Dale is dealing with his wife, I think that was his wife giggling in the background. We're going to go ahead.
Oh, I think that was Dima. Because I don't think I've ever heard his missus laugh.
You never know. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So here we have a Twitter space, and I've never really gotten into spaces simply because, you know, you can't really download them. And if the person who starts them doesn't set it to save the recording, then it's gone once the space ends.
All right, I'm back.
Okay. Who was it? Was it your wife or was it Dima?
The first, but because of the second.
Okay. So I was right.
Yes.
Okay.
I
So
give you that.
3D2A. 3D Second Amendment community. There's been a lot of hoopla going on because of Cody Wilson and Zona. Well, what is going on?
What dirty pervert? Yeah, we gotta know
So,
now.
long story short, me and Dema Dema mostly had suggested very late, at like 6 a.m. yesterday when we were both dead tired and I barely remembered, that it would be a funny joke to leave to leave a pair of panties of hers that was not used in the bed next to my wife while she was sleeping on her stuffy, and have, well, she wouldn't notice, and she'd wake up and think it was like used and freak out, and apparently that would be funny. And so well, that was originally just a joke. She actually did it apparently while I was asleep, and then they discussed that, and at some point while I was on the podcast, she walked up and just kind of dropped it on my head, and I, not remembering, I was like, "Wait, what the fuck is the?" Yeah. Well, and that's when I was like, "What the fuck?" and then muted myself, and now they're just like tisming back and forth about things.
Of course. Okay.
Yes.
So 3D2A.
Titillating, thank you.
Yes.
There's been a whole hoopla going on because of Cody Wilson and basically suing a bunch of CAD developers in the 2A community because he says that them posting on the catalog has lost him money.
Really? If Cody Wilson continues his downward spiral.
Yeah. So Cody Wilson is technically not a pedophile. He is technically an ephebophile.
You shouldn't make that distinction.
No, I shouldn't have to make that distinction because that distinction is not made in law. The law says he's a pedophile, but a lot of people say he's not a pedophile because she wasn't a child. She was an older teen. She was 17. Doesn't
Okay, but
fucking
Erica,
matter.
people who say that are also pedophiles, so you shouldn't listen to them.
I'm not listening to them. I'm saying how absurd the argument is because the law doesn't make that distinction. We don't make that distinction. I shouldn't have to make the distinction simply because it doesn't exist. If you are older than 18, if you are in your late 20s, if you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, if you are 100 fucking years old, it doesn't fucking matter. If you're sleeping with someone younger than 18 years old, you're a fucking pedophile.
Yes.
Word.
Wood chipper go burr.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in Canada, it's 16. So if he was in here, then no one would be complaining, which is bad.
Well, there's the age of consent in the States, and then there's the age of majority. The age of 16 in a lot of states is 16. But at 16, the only people that you can have sex with are people between the ages of 16 and 18.
Right.
Once you turn it,
make that distinction. In Canada, a 16-year-old could be banged by George Soros and he wouldn't go to prison, unfortunately.
Once you reach age 19 in most of these states, you cannot sleep with women under the or anyone under the age of 18.
A lot of like quote unquote Romeo and Juliet laws that are like, if it's within 5 years of age, then it's like they don't count.
It's generally 4 years because you have to have dated at some point while the two of you were in high school. Because that's generally the age at which you begin to date.
Right. Makes sense.
So there's that hoopla, and then of course we've got FDM Arms coming in and shilling for Cody.
Oh,
So-
speaking of FDM arms, we have got to discuss what he did to our friend Stephanie.
Oh yeah,
Who's FDF Arms, and what did
I'm-
he do to Steph?
I'm getting
We're
there.
getting
I'm getting
there.
there. So FDM comes in shilling for Cody. This is his first post, but Vega brought up the fact that all of his arguments during the space, you know, he didn't back them up with any receipts. You know, all of his arguments were just how he feels, Cody is the best, Gatalog sucks, DefCAD rules. Why would anyone pay to use a website that has designs stolen from creators when you can go to a website that's free and download the open source files for those designs? Why?
Yeah.
And we are talking about FOSSCAD, FOSS CAD. FOSS is free open source software.
Mhm.
Open source. If the person who copyrights the design says this is open source, you cannot force someone to pay for the design.
Yes.
Cody has gotten around that basically by a quote unquote know your audience license.
What is that? I've never heard of a know your audience license before.
A know your audience license is basically saying, okay, well, I know the people that want these things, and they're not going to have a problem paying to get them.
Mm.
But that doesn't change the fact that the only thing that he can put behind a paywall are things that the people who copyright the files say that he can. Like if someone says this is free and open source, I don't want people to pay for it, and they put it on the catalog, Cody cannot take that and put it up behind his paywall.
Right.
It's not going to be legal, not under copyright and not under open source. Because he doesn't own the copyright to the open source.
All right.
So
that's kind of like the BSD vs Unix difference. One, you can't sell, the license says you can't sell it, and the other, is, you have to give it for free, and the other says that you can take it and do what you will with it and sell it if you want. And so the catalog is on the side of you can't take it and sell it for and make profit off it, right?
correct.
Based.
His
I'm excited to know that people are still using Beastie.
Yeah, of course. Well, all right. Anyone who uses Apple is basically using BSD. They're using a stolen version of BSD. Yes, I said it.
my Plex server runs on a proprietary version of OpenBSD.
That's so nice.
There shouldn't be proprietary versions of BSD.
Well,
I was kind of disappointed.
There's commercial, and then there's non-commercial. Generally, if you're just running a home server, you don't pay. Once it goes into company, then you broach the proprietary portion.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, Vega calls out FDM Arms, and FDM Arms, Cody, he's a good person. I like Cody. And Steph says pedophiles are not good people.
Correct.
Talking
Correct.
about Cody. Nevada asks who's the pedo. Steph answers that it's Cody. Nevada says, "Oh, I don't know who that is," and so Steph explains. Eventually, FDM Arms comes back and says, "Isn't that rich? The people that push bootleg hormones to adolescents are calling Cody a pedo." Steph doesn't do that. She never has. I don't do that. Just because we're trans doesn't mean that we're pushing hormone blockers or hormones to fucking adolescents. That's a bullshit fucking
Exactly.
argument.
And, and I tell you what, we need to start doing a better job at fighting that stereotype.
We
By
we've
we,
we've
by
tried for
we,
fucking
I'm
years.
come again.
Like,
We've tried for fucking years. The problem is that there are too many people in this country caught in a cult mindset.
I think, and this could just be, wrong, but I think that fighting with them online and like engaging with them like that has been to the detriment of people who care about trans people, because the action of fighting and having an enemy and feeling like they're engaged in doing something kind of like it's addictive to these people. Like, look at JK Rowling, a supposedly successful woman who spends all of her time complaining about trans people because she loves to fight with people about trans people. Like, she's addicted to the interactions with other people.
I apologize for throwing you off, Erica. It's just these idiots really get on my nerves.
I know, which is why I told you to take a fucking break from Twitter.
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
I'm with you. They get on my nerves too, and when I see them, I cannot resist fighting with them. So I had to quit Twitter.
there's
When they get me torqued off, I just look up old school tank concepts.
fair enough.
there's nothing wrong with taking a break from social media.
Oh, I don't think I'm coming back. I feel like Elon Musk was interfering in my country's elections recently, and that participating in a social media website owned by him just isn't in my best interest as a patriotic American.
Generally speaking, social media, we've gone through this in the 2016, the 2020, and now the 2024 elections. There's really not going to be any result from having the bureaucracy investigate these social media websites. I myself am not a fan of Elon. I'm a fan of his work. I'm not a fan of the man.
Yeah, no, in some ways he's kind of cringe, but in some ways he's kind of based. It's a mixed bag. He's an autistic mixed bag.
The problem is Elon has fallen in with the same cult mindset that a lot of people have fallen into. When it comes down to it, you have to stay balanced and not fall into the all the extremes of all trans people, all leftists, all socialists. I know we make jokes about Kilokami. Still,
Mhm.
I still do not believe that all people who claim to be socialist are bad people. I still do not believe all people who claim to be nationalists to be bad people. I just think they've fallen into a cult mindset, and until they get kicked out of the cult, there's nothing I can fucking do about it.
Right.
It kind of reminds me of, I had a friend in an abusive relationship, and she was dating just a real humdinger of a dude. I couldn't be in the same room as him, and I was just like, when you break up with him, honey, I'm right here for you. And I distanced myself, and I feel like that's what I'm kind of doing with social media.
What do you mean by a humdinger? Because humdinger sounds like I don't know. That word sounds like
I was
it sounds
about
like a
to
very
call
positive
him.
thing. Oh,
No, I was
no.
substituting a cuss word because I was trying to edit myself.
Uh, what would
Just
be the
like
first letter of this cuss word? Just for clarification.
what?
What would be the
I
first?
was gonna call him a real motherfucker. And
Fair
then,
enough.
and then I changed what I was saying, and I don't know why humdinger came out. It was just like, like, do you have a little word drawer in your mind, and sometimes different words come out?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But but before we move off of this onto our open discussion, I want to bring up the fact that FDM Arms is a partner with Are We Cool Yet?
What is that?
Are We Cool Yet is a group of developers in the 3D2A community.
Hmm.
I have a couple of printed lowers that came from Are We Cool Yet? But when it comes to the rest of his profile, one of them is FOSS, FOSS, which I already explained is free open source software.
Right.
One of them is 3D2A. One of them is GunCAD. The simple fact of the matter is, if you're putting these things in your bio, you should fucking understand them.
Mm-hmm.
If you put FOSS in your bio, you should understand open source laws, which he obviously doesn't, because Cody cannot do the things that he's been doing.
Yes. He also can't come in within so many meters of a school.
No, and there's a whole bunch of conspiracies going on about entrapment and how he was set up by the cops. Listen, entrapment is very well defined in U.S. law and and um, case law.
Yes.
The most important aspect of entrapment is the person who works for the government cannot try to convince you or change your mind if you do not initially say yes to their idea.
Mm. So they can
So,
encourage you. They just can't try to convince you if you say no. They can encourage you along to do things, but they just can't. They just can't push back if you start to say no.
well, no, if it gets to a point where, you're already expressing some sort of what's the word I'm looking for?
Intent.
No, if you're expressing uh any sort of pause, if you have any sort of pause, express discomfort with something, that indicates to a court that this is not something that you would generally agree to do, and anything from that moment on is going to be considered entrapment.
Isn't that how the Michigan Fednapping case went?
Yes.
Dude.
Apologies. Are you talking about the Gretchen Whitmore
Yes,
kidnapping plot?
the
Uh-huh.
Fednapping case.
It was the only prominent thing I could think of. So
Yeah,
Yes.
the Boogaloo Boys got off scot-free because the Fed that had come in and
Orchestrating basically everything.
orchestrated everything. There was proof that all four guys that had been a part of this that weren't the Fed weren't comfortable with it, and it was ruled to be entrapment, and everything got thrown out.
Don't you just love how the only time the feds can really try to quote unquote catch anything is if they instigate it to begin with?
Yep.
the funniest part about that, and by funny I mean the most tragic, is imagine being Gretchen Whitmore and finding out that the feds got this entire scary ass thing together.
Yes.
And it was just the feds. The feds were like, oh yeah, we scared the shit out of you.
Yeah. All in the name of trying to beat a political opponent.
Just
Listen,
incredible. Because I don't think that governors, like potential governors and the feds, generally plot together.
Yeah.
so when I see people talking about Proud Boys, Proud Boys aren't a fucking thing anymore. If anyone says they
No.
are, take a look at how Proud Boys walk about in these quote unquote videos. They're all masked up, they're all wearing black. They're fucking feds.
Yeah. Oh, no, what you're thinking of is Patriot Front. Those are the feds.
Well, them too.
Yes.
Proud Boys broke up when Gavin what's his futs
Gavin McInnes.
yeah disassociated from the movement. It's all feds now.
Mm.
Okay.
I bet they're having fun.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure they are.
Yeah, what a blast that would be to pretend to be like a slightly terroristic militia. I don't give the Proud Boys. I'm not scared of them. They came to Philadelphia during the election, and like 4 Philadelphia dudes challenged them, and they got back in their moving truck and went home. And it's
Which
kind of made me
election?
think the 2021, and it's kind of made me think that they've always just been wimps and people blew them out of proportion. Because like it was just like 4 random Philadelphia dudes were like, nah, you don't belong here. You need to go. And they did. They just fucked off. And like, I don't know. It's hard to be scared of people who just fuck off.
So we are into our final topic, and that is an open discussion about anarchism.
Mhm.
It's also a platform for Liz to start to bounce ideas off about mobile anarchist communities.
All right. So has anybody here ever been to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting with like a friend or perhaps court ordered?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Nope.
I have spent a lot of time
You have a
around
friend or a court
Anonymous.
ordered?
For me,
Yeah.
because I had a problem with drinking and I was trying to quit drinking.
So it wasn't
So
court ordered.
no, it was voluntarily association, but I was joking because Alcoholics Anonymous is an anarchistic organization that the courts recommend that you go join. And a lot of people never think of it like that. And I wanted to be a little funny. So
Mhm.
if you go to an AA meeting and you sit down at the table, the first thing that they do is they get out some cards and they pass them around. Everybody reads off of them, and they kind of front load their morals to you. You know, they say there's no leaders or spokespeople in AA. This is an anonymous organization. If you see somebody from the meeting on the street, don't talk about their story about getting drunk that they shared last week, kind of stuff.
Right.
They go through how it formed, why you're here is because there was a guy named Bill W. and another guy, and they started talking, and they realized that together that they could quit drinking, right? And so you read this shit up every single meeting, and you kind of front load everybody there with the core of AA, and then they can take that with them. They can print it off of the website, and they can start their own little meeting. And it's been tremendously successful because of both the simplicity of it, but also since AA doesn't have any leaders, you never hear about it in the news. You never hear bad things about AA because there's no spokespeople or representative to bring them down. And also they're doing good mutual aid deeds by like helping other alcoholics quit drinking, helping them get jobs, helping them with their housework sometimes. Like, if you're in a tight AA community, they will show up and help you with your yard if you've been in a depressive slump. They are extremely helpful people. And I just thought, man, why can't we capture that for like some good old fashioned mutual aid? Right now, a lot of people need it. I think about transgender people's struggles coming up with the banning of hormones that's probably going to start and the difficulty getting care.
Are you? I
And
don't think anyone's banning hormones.
we'll see. We'll see. It's
Well,
just it was
no.
on his website as like one of the first things that he wanted to do. So
Who is he and what's his website?
oh, sorry, it's on
Trump.
Donald Trump's website.
That
It
he's
was
gonna
like
ban hormones. I don't think
it
to
it was access. You know what? I read it and I went, well, this is fucking shitty for trans people. But you can look it up. It's
I
on his
think-
website, as I said.
I
Read it
think
all the way
what is-
through.
I think what was said is that they're going to do it for like minors, right? No,
If you'll
no one.
excuse me, I actually did read it and you haven't. So if you could go read it before you tell me what it
Fair
says,
enough.
I would appreciate that.
Very
Thank you.
well, I shall read it.
I'm
So
pulling it up right now.
Yeah, let's look it up
pull it up.
because it started
read
with
it on
being the
screen.
minors thing, but there was an adults thing stuck in there that I was like, well, that's not good.
All right. Yes, let us pull this up.
My friend sent it to me because she read it and she was like, this is even worse than I expected.
Where is it?
Hold on a second. I'm going to figure out where I posted it in my other Discord because that might be the easiest way to find it.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm reading through a lot of conversations trying to find it.
No worries.
Well, let's move on with the conversation and we'll circle back when I do find it and you
Fair
guys can talk.
Yes.
It makes me anxious when everybody's quiet when I'm trying to find something like everyone's watching me.
Oof.
No, I'm there. It's page 15 of the platform under Republicans will end left-wing gender insanity. We will keep men out of women's sports, ban taxpayer funding for sex change surgeries, and stop taxpayer-funded schools from promoting gender transition, reverse Biden's medical rewrite of Title IX education regulations, and restore protections for women and girls.
So nothing about hormones, just keeping,
There's a lot more text. Hold on a second. There was more text than that. There was like
I get-
a few paragraphs. My point is that it could go further than just the children, and being prepared for that just in case is not. It would be good, like having transgender people in all of the states hooked up with each other in community, being able to talk to each other like we do, like people do online, in places that they can have a degree of privacy would be useful.
I mean, so look at what is the most right-wing state when it comes to cultural issues? The most right-wing state is Florida under Ron DeSantis. The only thing he did was make it so that you could no longer get hormones via telemedicine. You had to go in person. And Donald
Do
Trump
you really
is
think
nowhere
Florida's
near.
the most right-wing state? I don't. I live here in Florida.
It is absolutely the most culturally right-wing state at the moment under DeSantis, and even that's the extent. That's the extent of what he did, and he is far more culturally right-wing than Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a New York liberal, right? He's always been a New York liberal. He's not doing that shit, right?
I
It's
think
like,
first of all,
a lot of right-wingers will be pissed off when I say that, but it's true. He has always been a New York liberal. He just lurks as a right-winger.
I reserve the right to wait and see.
Yeah,
I did say it was a possibility and that people should be prepared for it just in case it goes further than you think it's going to.
We saw because he was president in 2016 to 2020 and he didn't do anything but cut taxes, which is based, but still, like,
I think I apologize. I would rather talk about the subject though of portable anarchy and than Donald Trump's potential policies, because that really was meant to be an aside. And
fair enough.
this is like an exciting subject to me, and Trump is just something that I will be tolerating while it's
Fair
still
enough.
here.
I
So-
will leave the more political things to the other podcast. So let's get into that.
But I will look up the like because it wasn't just a headline. There were like actual paragraphs, so it shouldn't have taken so long or so quickly to read. So I will figure out what that link is later. Anyway, my idea is that like if you go to the Alcoholics Anonymous website, you'll find that like they'll send you out a packet, you know, and then every Alcoholics Anonymous group is set up to be self-sustaining. The members donate to it. Again, there's like somebody is elected the treasurer, but it's not a really solidly set up club. It's kind of like it's got just enough structure that it works without being bulky or having like, you know, you got to report in after meetings and stuff. And I really love the idea of it for spreading like mutual aid causes and other things that are rooted in anarchism. I know it's not as salacious as Trump.
Yes.
So are you proposing using the oh god, I cannot word today.
Understandable.
What I'm proposing to do is I in my life I am organizing other women for networks. I know some of you don't think that Trump, the New York liberal, is going to have abortion banned across this country.
Unfortunately.
Probably. But it's probably going to be an issue. And also, there's other things that have been happening. The misogyny has kind of been going up, and a lot of us women have been talking. And you know, we just think that maybe spending the next few years by ourselves, not dating anybody, just focusing inward, maybe participating in women's activities and talking to other women online only, and maybe retreating a little bit to, I know it's called a safe space by some, but and actually like a woman's space, and just not letting the dudes come in for a while is a way that we'll survive the next few years, and we can help each other get out of bad situations and provide each other with community. And so what I want to do is I want a sisterhood in a box set up.
Yes. No, I am personally very much in favor of all the people who are worried about that stuff doing exactly that. No contact with men. No, avoid all the bad men, and yeah, create.
I honestly, I will never personally date a man again, but like some women are just taking a break.
Do all that and let us conservatives outread you.
What?
I'm personally very
okay.
in favor of that.
That's when it comes down to it,
Winning the culture war over the long term.
You know, the long-term culture war is actually like kind of part of it. Like if a lot of the women, especially the women who are activists online, if we like kind of retreat and we focus inward on each other, and we put in the cultural like roots to make change the way, because the conservatives with the Heritage Foundation and shit, they have been building this for years. Just
Yeah, the Heritage Foundation is stupid to begin.
I don't know.
with.
The Heritage Foundation is kind of based in some ways and kind of cringe in some other ways.
I personally, everything that they like, I fucking hate. But I have to admire the persistence. I have to admire the Federal Society or wherever it is that they have that listed judge stroke. I have to admire the fact that they have been planning this shit for years. And so, like, as a woman who's like, I don't think that the government should tell me what morality is. Like, I don't look to the U.S. government, the killers of innocent children overseas, to tell me what's moral and what's not moral. And I don't really appreciate the idea that if somebody raped me and I got pregnant, that the US government is going to be like, hey, you need to have that kid. Like, fuck you. This is my body. I'm not going to
Well-
be pregnant for 9 months.
All right, here's a question for you, because you say morality, and again, we all agree rape is bad, but if the government shouldn't tell you what is moral, then why should the government punish rape?
So
We've
Like,
we've
why-
we've
why-
the government doesn't actually really punish rape. Maybe you
why
could
should-
ask me a sensical question.
All right, why should it then? Not why does it? Why should it? If they don't regulate morality, why should they punish rape?
Okay.
we've
Morality and crime are two different things, though.
I
Like,
mean, one is-
hold on a second, because I'm talking about the government deciding that a life inside of me that's a cells that hasn't developed a brain yet is in fact as morally significant as my life. That's not what I'm looking for the U.S. government to do. Like, the U.S. government doesn't need to tell me that a baby is an equal person to be inside of me
You're
when it's
looking at-
not even.
You're looking for it to
everyone
enforce
everyone
morality
pause for a
when
second.
you
We've talked about this before on this very stream before. We do not legislate morality. We legislate action based
but
upon
that action
harm.
is based on a certain morality,
It
right? It's based on an ethical system that says certain things are wrong and certain things are right.
yes, it's
Right?
it's supposedly based on certain things are wrong, certain things are right. But in its entirety, it's based upon what is proven to be harmful and what is not.
Again,
And
Erica.
I
harmful.
I understand.
It is harmful to women to be pregnant. Flat
I-
out.
I-
Not
It's a
necessarily.
life-threatening conditioning.
Ho-
No,
hold
it is a
on, hold
life-threatening
on.
condition.
If it's a life-threatening condition, then why is the human race still here?
Because sometimes it doesn't kill you and you get a baby. But before medical practices were as good as they are now, women died in childbirth all of the time. It is something that can kill us. It is not a harmless condition. It can actually take your life. And now, as somebody who's actually been pregnant, when I was giving birth, I could have died. I had to have an emergency C-section. Pregnancy is a life-threatening condition.
So when it comes to actions, we have what's proven to be harmful and what is not proven to be harmful to the whole of society, which is why we generally punish people who drive drunk, people who deal drugs, even though I don't agree with punishing people who deal drugs, generally speaking, because it's a we've
But-
proven that in some ways it's better to leave the human race to its own fucking devices, meaning with drugs it's better to teach people the issues with drugs and inform them of the risks, and maybe, just maybe, they can be responsible with those drugs. Same thing with abortion. If we stopped this whole bullshit about make abortion legal to end of term or make abortion illegal outright, we might actually get back to, hey, maybe it should be legal. Let people understand the risks and choose for them fucking selves.
Word. And them and their doctors can decide if their bodies can sustain a pregnancy, because not every woman can give birth. Not every woman is healthy enough to give birth. Some women will die if they get pregnant.
Actually, this is a question I feel I need to ask every person who is pro-abortion, because abortion isn't one act, right? Abortion is two separate acts, right? There is the removal of the fetus, and there's the murder of the fetus. So why do you always have to first rip them to pieces or kill them in some way? Why not just remove them, and if they live, they live, if they die, they die? Why do you always have to kill them first?
Feel free to invent a womb that a fetus can
No,
survive
that
in
was not
outside of a woman.
That was not the question. The question is why is there always
Okay,
step
please
one
don't say
kill them?
you first of all.
Well, why can't I say you? I'm talking to you.
No, because
Like,
I haven't killed any fetuses, and
alright,
you said, "Why do you always kill the fetuses?" And I
alright,
have never killed a fetus, so that's why I don't think you should say it.
you in the abstract as a person. So why
You
do
can just say people.
sure, why do they always have step one murder the fetus and then step two remove it? Why not just remove it, and if it lives, it lives. If it dies, it dies.
I
The
think that
way I have no idea what you're fucking talking about because most abortions are 2 pills.
Surgical
nowadays,
abortion.
yeah. So when it comes to surgical abortion, that's becoming an extremely outdated practice. But
It still happens a lot.
but before the pills, when it came to the actual going in, dismantling the fetus, and then taking it out, it's generally because the fetus knows that it doesn't want to come out, and so it's going to cause harm because they've already got fucking nails.
I mean, you can induce labor early just via pills. Like,
That's
isn't that what the
that's basically what the pills are to begin with.
Either way, this just sounds barbaric.
it is?
Okay,
Like,
guys, I
DNC
just wanted
abortions
to
are
reiterate that most abortions take place way before this point. Most of them take place very, very shortly after the woman realizes she's pregnant. She goes and she
Right.
does the abortion
Yeah,
pills.
but-
This is not a very common thing.
Yeah,
Late-term abortions aren't very common, and they're
we're not-
almost always done because the life of the mother is at stake. I think when you're talking about it in such graphic terms, it is important to remember that it's not frivolous
So-
because it kind of makes women seem horrible.
We're not talking about late term, which is not it. We're talking about DNC abortions, dilation and cartilage. That's the one where you take
Yeah,
4
that's-
steps into and you rip the baby limb from limb.
That's
The late term abortions are the ones where they're too big to rip limb from limb. So you take a needle with poison, you stab them in the head, and you inject poison into them, and then oftentimes they don't die, so you have to do it a few more times, and then you dilate the womb and you drag their corpse out. We're not talking about the late term. We're talking about the early term DNCs or
there's
D in something.
there's early term and then there's first trimester. So early term
Right.
occurs the DNC that you're talking about occurs generally between the 10 and 12 week period.
Right.
Before
Which
the
is
10
where
week
a
period,
lot of them happen.
that's actually where the fewest of them happen.
No, fewest
Most-
happen is late term, which is the whole stabbing in the head with the needle and poison.
Most of them happen before 10 weeks.
That's all I was trying to say is that most abortions are just before 10. Like they're pretty early.
So
Sure.
generally speaking, when it comes to abortion, the decision is made around the 2-month period, and then someone gets in and gets the pill or a DNC, and that DNC before the 10 week does not include any dismantlement of the fetus because it's so small. Once 10 weeks hits, then they have to, because the fetus grows exponentially as you go further on in the process.
Thank you, Erica.
But again, and we never really answered the whole why do you have to pull them limb from limb when you could just remove them?
Because as I said before, it causes damage, or it can cause damage if you don't.
But I mean, we know that for wanted pregnancies, they can induce labor early if they need to protect the woman's health. So why can't they just do that for unwanted ones without having to dismember them?
But before 10 weeks, they can.
After 10 weeks,
After 10 weeks, because again, you're going to actually be
when you
giving
induce
birth to.
when
You're
you
going to
induce
be.
labor early for a wanted pregnancy, that doesn't cause that damage that you're talking about.
It still
I
causes
think
that
the word
damage.
missing here is viability that
Sure.
you're thinking of. As when is the baby able to survive on its own outside of the womb? Because
mean,
I
Well,
did flippantly say
what-
earlier that we don't actually have good artificial wombs. So, like,
Yeah.
if you took the baby out of an unwanted pregnancy, but I would like to reiterate that at this point, when an abortion is happening, there's usually like sometimes it's because of birth defects, and I would like to point out, because there's going to be a point here when you start talking about unwanted pregnancies, that some of the biggest proponents of abortion are people who were adopted, because they don't really agree with this idea that that being separated from your mother right away in life isn't traumatic and that it doesn't suck. And I just wanted to throw that out there.
If you went into an orphanage with giant forceps, none of the orphans would ask to be ripped apart. So it's like they're saying that now, but I mean, like, if presented with the option of being murdered, none of the orphans would be like, "Yes, murder me." They'll be like,
Mhm.
"No, please don't murder me."
Okay, so
I mean,
when it comes to induced labor, when we're talking about uh, wanted pregnancies, like carrying to term and inducing because the baby has has been in for too long, which my ex-wife had to induce, the baby still causes that fucking damage, even more so.
but we're not talking about in too long. We're talking about they have to. We're talking about we have like in for not long enough, right? Like, say for
It's to
example,
protect the woman's body.
yes, that's what I'm
If
talking about. But I'm saying,
Right. They
if
don't do it because it protects the woman's body.
well, I mean, they
but
kind like C-sections
we're
exist to protect the woman's body, like because the
yeah,
woman might die if they don't get the C-section. So they do
So-
it to
Girl,
protect the woman's body.
C-sections did not. You know what?
They,
Never mind.
I
I have
mean,
a lot of medical problems because I had a C-section.
the
yes, but
okay, so
all right, are you saying there are no C-sections done in order to protect the woman
I just
from
say
complications?
it might save your life, but it doesn't make your body protected. It damages your body to save your life. It's a damaging process.
Being dead is being damaged is superior to being dead. So, like,
okay, so
chemotherapy damages your body, but it's also superior to dying of cancer.
Right, but
so
chemotherapy doesn't protect your body.
Right.
You
I
wouldn't
so
mean,
say
what
that.
it protects your body against the thing it's trying to.
okay,
It's trying to.
we're getting off in the fucking weeds. I'm taking control of this. I'm trying to explain to you, Dale, that when it comes to inducing, whether it's after or before term, even if it's a wanted pregnancy, the preferred method of wanting to get the baby out will always be vaginally. That is always going to be the preferred method, but it's
Of course.
still going to cause extreme amounts of damage.
Sure.
A baby more than 5 pounds is almost guaranteed to rip the vaginal canal, almost guaranteed to rip between that and the colon, like at the very end of the sphincter. It's also very likely to claw as it's coming out. My daughter
Right.
did that as she was
All right.
coming out.
So, if I can clarify, so a induced labor earlier in pregnancy is not going
Mhm.
to cause more damage than a normal pregnancy would, correct?
It's going
Like, it's
it's
not
going
like
to
the baby is going to do more damage because it's like, oh, I'm not supposed to be out yet, so I'm gonna claw shit. Like, it's
induce
not gonna do more damage.
inducing labor period is going to make it's going to put the baby in distress. It always puts the baby in distress.
Is this as opposed to labor naturally, or like, is there a distinction there?
There's
Like, it,
generally a difference between induced labor and natural labor, because there are definitely women that it's one push and it's out, and there are women that, don't have to induce, where the baby is not, uh, what's the word I already used? Is not in distress, but
Right.
it still takes a long time to come out. Inducing
Yes.
labor always causes distress for the baby because the baby didn't want to come out naturally. Because it's supposed to know, along with your body, that it's supposed to come out. But if you artificially change that cycle, your body didn't know and the baby didn't know. So it will always cause damage coming out when you induce labor and give birth vaginally.
But won't it also always cause damage? Like, again, many times with the previous point made that like earlier women would die in pregnancy. So like, it's not like it doesn't cause damage naturally either when the cycles are natural.
Yes, but because of the medical advancements that we have, the risk is much lower when you carry to term than it used to be.
Right. Is the risk also lower when you induce than it used to be?
No,
So
the
what
the
you're
the
saying,
the
if I, yeah,
the risk of damage when inducing is no different than what it used to be, except for during the 60s. But before inducing labor was a thing, and when inducing labor first became a thing, it was much different. But
inducing labor's only really been a thing since the 60s.
it's only been a big thing since the 60s. I think it's Pitocin that they use for inducing labor. Or is that the one that they use for stopping labor?
Not sure. So this is all chemically inducing labor.
Yes, chemically inducing labor. Because there's a chemical to start labor and there's a chemical to halt contractions.
Right. And is this a chemical the body produces naturally that you're just artificially, giving? Or is this
Okay, so the chemical that begins labor is oxytocin.
right?
That heightened levels of oxytocin will induce labor, which is why they still recommend women at 9 months to have sex to induce labor.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Who is you?
No. Can I ask you why the opinions of people who were made to be born because their mothers didn't have access to abortion aren't important to you? Like, you overrode the adult to say, well, if I asked a toddler, and it kind of felt dismissive, like they can't tell you that their experience after being born was so horrible that they would have rather not experienced it at all.
Well, I mean, if they really thought that, they'd kill themselves, but they don't.
No,
So
that's not
they
the
don't
same
actually thought
thing.
that.
Oh, no, that's bullshit. Why would they
Okay,
kill
so
themselves?
Because their
So you're
experience is
saying
so
they would
horrible, they don't want to live.
violently take their own life, but killing yourself isn't the same thing as having never existed. You're conflating two very different things.
If their desire was, if their life was so horrible that they wished they'd never been born, and they truly meant it, they would do that because that's how you.
How do you know that? Have you ever been that person, or did you just assume that you understand their thought process?
Well, I mean, it's
Because
the
it makes sense to you.
it's the
It's
logical
not logical
conclusion
at
to the
all.
problem. I mean, it
It's
kind of
not
is.
logical at all. Killing yourself sounds painful and it's scary, and not existing at all
I mean,
isn't the same thing.
There
Somebody
are ways
I
else
to do
think
it.
no,
somebody's
There are
getting
ways
back
to do
into
it
a
painlessly.
wall.
and a
And
lot
I
of
am very much against that, but I mean that's the logical conclusion if you
no,
go
it's
down
not
that
though.
thought process.
First of all, that's not the same thing. And also 40% of people who are adopted do kill themselves. We
I
have
don't
some of
think
the
that's the
highest
case.
rates of
40%
no, it actually it
in
is
the
the case.
world, in the
I am
U.S.
an
or what?
40% of adoptees, according to the limited studies that have been done about adoption,
Right.
kill themselves. So you just think, or
All right.
I'm so sorry, have suicidal thoughts and have tried to kill themselves, not have been
Oh,
successful,
all right.
and that's the
Yeah.
missing thing. But I'm actually part of the adoptee community, and we talk about this all the time. And like, you are welcome to go talk to other adopted people about how they see the world, but it does seem a little bit thick of you to say, well, I feel like I know that if they really felt like this, like you just have decided that you're the arbiter of how they actually feel.
I mean, I'm the arbiter of I'm the arbiter of logical of what's that term? I'm the arbiter of logical
So,
extremes, and that's the
Women
end
should have
conclusion
to
of a
give
logical
birth
extreme.
vaginally to babies that they don't want so
No.
that they can grow up to be people who are passively suicidal at best because you think that women's bodies are for giving birth? Or what is your reason why this baby has to be born?
Most people who are passively suicidal at one point are not for their whole life. A lot of people who are born naturally and have parents are also sometimes suicidal. Like this is not a thing that's just like this is not a thing that is unique to adoptees.
You have
No.
just found it out about how adoptees feel, and now you are telling an adoptee that it's not unique to them. Congratulations.
Yes, I am telling
Thank
an
you
adoptee
for the
that
rug sweeping.
I am telling an adoptee that suicidal ideation is not unique to them. Yes.
What I am trying to tell you is that we experience it at greater height or rates than the rest of the population. But
Also not
I
true.
can
There are
tell that.
there are also demographics that experience it at a higher rate than you.
Okay, yeah, transgender people are about equal.
Yes. So
Anyway,
higher,
I get it.
technically.
No, you are the expert on this subject, so please
Yes,
carry on. But I'm going to be leaving.
I am the
Okay.
expert.
Okay, goodbye.
God damn it.
Bye.
Good riddance.
What did I miss?
If you can't
I
have
was getting
fucking,
ready to
if
hang
you
up
can't have a
myself.
fucking conversation, don't. If you can't handle